32 days. All right, guys, we're back for another episode of Talking Preps. It is time for the playoffs. It is Coach Lewis's favorite time of year. Am I not right, Coach Lewis?
Absolutely. Love it.
All right. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to start off a little football, a little basketball. Then we're going to get into the playoffs right after this. All right, let's get right to it. I want to bring in new Independence football coach Robert Williams, who's out of West Charlotte. Coach Williams, welcome to the show.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing well, sir. What was this the first head job you'd applied for? Had you kind of been through the ringer a little bit?
I went through the ringer. I went through the interview process with West Charlotte, obviously, when they were hiring for a new coach.
And what was it like, this time? Did you get any vibes that you were going to be the guy? Was the interview really good? Give us the inside scoop.
It was definitely a lot quicker. I don't know if we're supposed to share, I guess, the process of how that worked. But West Charlotte was, let's say, more rounds than Independence. Once I had my interview with them, they hit me back pretty quick. So,
yeah,
a lot faster.
What can Patriots fans expect from you? I mean, DJ, has 5 straight winning seasons now. What can people expect from you?
We're definitely going to still be competitive. Obviously, first-year head coach and just change. There's a lot of moving pieces. Kids with this new day of age, as far as I guess you can call it transfer portal. Just kids moving around, not figuring out stuff, and pretty much, we're going to be competitive. That's a definite. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be definitely disciplined and just laying down that foundation of what I want the program to be and moving on from there. But like I said, competitive and disciplined.
Coach, talking to Coach Griner for the last couple of years, just one-on-one, he raved about how good you were as DC. And now you're getting ready to be the head coach. Who got the best of this trade? Because that's what it comes out. It's a trade, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a trade.
who got the best of the trade?
I mean, I'm always going to go with myself, so I'm going to say Independence.
Yeah, all joking aside, the most important thing for any coach taking over a new job is his staff. Any of the guys from West Charlotte going with you, or you have your own guys in mind, or are you keeping guys from Independence? How's that going to work out for you?
A little bit of both. I'm not going to say any names, but this past week has been full of scheduling interviews of people who want to be on staff. Obviously vetting the people that were on the staff that are staying at Independence. And then obviously, like I said, there's a few people that's going to come with me from West Charlotte. But it's been fun, man. Talking to new people, just figuring out what we want to do, what I want to do offensively. Obviously, defensively, I'm gonna have my hand in that mix because I'm gonna.
That's your thing.
I'm gonna keep doing what got me in this position. So, but great guys that I've talked to so far, and I plan on rolling the staff out probably into this week or middle of next week.
Speaking of offense, DJ was known as a scripter and having a wide open offense, and he's got a quarterback who's capable of playing that way. Do you plan to change much with the offense? You guys are going to become 3 yards a cloud of dust? You're still going to spread it out and throw it all over the yard?
With the quarterback we have, we definitely want to highlight his skill set. Definitely plan on doing a lot of running, passing. I mean, it's going to be multiple. I can't necessarily put a title on what our offense is going to be.
Right.
But, it's going to be, we're going to move the ball. We're going to score points. I'm not going to say it's not going to be the same thing DJ ran. Obviously, he's taking a lot of his offensive staff with him. So I get to put my own spin on it. Still, like I said, looking for an OC to run the show. Obviously, I got to learn that side of the ball a little bit more. So next couple of months, I'll really be offense oriented, figuring everything out and putting a good staff together.
How exciting is it though to have a chance to put your stamp on things? I mean, in the past you had to kind of, listen to what Coach Griner was saying. If you coach somewhere before, you got to listen to that head coach. Now you're the bottom line. They got to listen to you.
Yeah, it's really exciting, man. It's a big step in my career, man. Obviously, it was something that was at the top of what I eventually planned to achieve. So just being able to put my own spin on things, offense, defensively, like you said, the whole program. Like I said, it's very exciting, and I look forward to the challenge. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it for sure.
Last question: what you do with all that WC gear you had?
I mean, look, I got indie gear. Me and DJ did a bag swap, and if you ask him, his bag was a lot bigger than mine. I was at West Charlotte for 3 years. He was there for 5, but I think he did a really good job of getting some nice gear over there. So we did a bag swap last week. So I took him a big duffel bag of West Charlotte gear, and he gave me like 3 trash bags full of Independence gear. So
that's what's up, man. But look, thanks,
Coach. I got one more question for you. What is the one thing that you learn the most from Coach Griner that you will implement at West Charlotte?
One thing I learned from him.
I know it's several, but
yeah,
I know there's one thing you said, yeah, I like this. This is what I'm going to take with me when I get my first head job. What is it that you learned from Griner that you take with you to Independence?
I can't say it's a thing. I can say it's the way Griner communicated, man. He was a very big advocacy for his players. The way he was able to talk about his players in front of coaches to help get them recruited, and then just putting them out there to obviously display their talents. He did a great job with that. That's something that I can obviously put to my toolbox. I've been around him a lot with higher level college coaches, and just, like I said, learning the vernacular and the words that he used, and just the way he was an advocate for his players. Something I'll definitely be able to, that I learned from him.
All right, Coach. Well, look, man, thanks for coming on the show. Best of luck to you. Can't wait to see Independence get started. We'll definitely come and see you on the spring tour.
Yes, sir. Sounds great.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
All right, that is new Independence coach Robert Williams. And now we're going to bring in old friend of the show, Scott Taylor of Ambassador Christian. That sounds funny. I'm about to say that word. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for glad to be back, I guess. Yes.
Here's my opening question for you. The playoffs are going on. You don't have any playoffs. How hard is that for you, being a former state champion?
I mean, I recognize where we are in the process that we as a school have to grow into to be able to get an opportunity to do that. It's fun. I mean, I've been to some games the last couple of weeks. As a fan, which has been unique. I don't know that I've had the chance to do that recently, but sure. I mean, you look at where we would be sitting as our school size. That NCISAA 3A is loaded, and I mean we had a chance to play a lot of those teams, but I was actually looking. Max Preps has that bracket ranked as the 9th toughest bracket in the country, and so you want to have a chance to compete for championships. But what we're really trying to do in establishing a program and set our foundation is really not necessarily dependent on playoffs at this point. Mm-hmm. But at some point, we'd like to have the opportunity to be able to compete.
Okay, let's just get right to it. Your wrestling team is in the state association. They win the tournament. Why is the basketball team in the tournament?
My understanding, wrestling's got some different qualifications, with different numbers and needs of students to meet weight classes. So there were some conversations regarding
that. Does I mean I hear all that, and that's nice and all, but it doesn't make sense that we're going to take the Ambassadors wrestling team can go to the state playoffs, but Ambassadors basketball team and football team, for that matter, can't go to the state playoffs. It doesn't make sense to me. Like you guys are a school, it appears to me, just as Charlotte Christian, or Latin or Myers Park, not Myers Park, Providence Day, anybody, and you guys would be a perfect fit for that conference, it appears to me.
But there's a process for membership. I mean, there's an application period and a provisional period that you have to go through. Mm-hmm. They have to do site visits. They're working to do right by their association and make sure there's some sustainability and that there's viability amongst the school. You have to be able to field a varsity team in boys and girls in 3 consecutive seasons. So I would have loved to have had the opportunity to get that provisional membership started last year so you could work your way a little bit quicker. But we have to do what's right. We have to be able to show that we're, as a school, living up to the standards that the association has. And when you come to some of these other team sports that have different requirements, I recognize that there's a process to go through to get there. And, I wish I had an answer for you because I don't know that I've asked good enough questions to necessarily have that answer. But I was happy for our kids that got a chance to do that because we had some guys that were really competitive.
Right.
And it was a really good state meet over at Latin. And we had one that we thought had a chance to win in his weight class that wrestled hurt and gave a good show. But to be able to put Ambassador Christian in those playoffs for those guys is a good first step.
I'm going to turn the guys loose. Richard, what you got?
Well, first of all,
Well,
Coach,
Scott, obviously you.
No, Richard Lewis, not Richard.
Oh, sorry.
That's my fault. I always call Richard, but Rick Lewis. Go ahead.
Well, Coach, congratulations on another great season. As you know, I'm sort of a stickler for analytics and pay attention to strength of scheduling. You guys, as far as all the teams, as far as according to Max Prep, had the toughest schedule in the state. Wow. And also you played 11 NCISAA teams, a lot of public school teams, and some of the national powerhouse teams. Who would you say is your toughest opponent you played this year?
Well, I mean, we had Spire Academy in the first round at John Wall, and I mean I thought we played a good game and had a shot. I mean, obviously their talent level is just ridiculous, and how deep they are. But I mean, we had the front end of our schedule where we ended up playing. We came out of the gate in some of your events with Winston-Salem Christian and Combine. We had Moravian Prep. Those guys are really talented. But some of the better games and just the traditional tough teams were Davidson Day. I mean, we played them 3 times and went back and forth with them every single time. We were scheduled to play Concord Academy, which I was really excited about doing that and going over there and playing Frankie and his kids because I know how good they are. That one got a snow game, so kind of got us where we weren't able to get there. But to be honest, and it's not a North Carolina school, but I do want to throw them in there. We went to Tennessee and we played Knoxville Webb, who's a top 20 national team. Yeah. It was really when we were starting to find ourselves. We had really struggled with that schedule early season and hadn't handled adversity well. We had a lead in the 4th, and we couldn't close it out. And then we had to come back and play Forsyth Country Day at home. And we ended up losing. We had the same thing. We had a lead in the 4th and just couldn't close it out, and ended up losing by 2.
Yeah.
But that set us up for the end of the season. But I mean, I don't know that I guess my appetite might have been a little bit bigger than what we were able to handle early in the season, but I thought it was a really good experience for our kids because your question is really good, and I probably wasn't able to give you one answer. That's because thinking about from where we came from in November to where we were now, a lot of those teams that we played had a lot to do with that.
Absolutely.
That's not even to mention Oak Hill at our place. Which
I was going to mention Oak Hill.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, obviously you've got an Eastern North Carolina background. Have coached high school and college. What do you think the state of high school basketball is in North Carolina? Because you've now seen it at a high level at both the private school level and the public school level.
Yeah, I think we're still in a pretty good space. I mean, there's always excitement, like you guys are getting ready to talk about playoffs. I mean, it doesn't matter who the kids are, what the names are that change. The playoffs are a fun time of year. Everybody gets excited about it. Everybody wants to go have a chance to compete for a state championship, whether it be private school or public school. I always thought it'd be really cool back when we had 4 classifications if we could get the 4 public school winners and the 4 private school winners to go play an 8-team tournament and have one of them just to knock it out. I thought that would have been awesome. I would have taken my chances with my team a couple years ago, but we're in a good spot. There's still a lot of transition. You have things trying to sort themselves out where kids trying to find their level, and that's the difficult part. Is there's not a real clear-cut answer to figuring that out. But when you have kids at their level in the right place, getting a great experience, man, they play hard. Fans are there to support it. And it doesn't matter whether it's rural Eastern North Carolina or it's here in Charlotte, whether it's public or private, you have good basketball games all over everywhere. And, it's good. I'll be interested to watch kind of what happens with these 8 classifications. I would mention, I was looking through some of it. I got a buddy on that eastern side of the state who's hosting a first round game in the 4A to a team that's 4-17 that's got to travel 300 miles on Tuesday night.
Wow.
And then if he wins, which he should, because he's the higher seed or lower seed, whatever you want to say, he's got to turn around and go 300 miles back to this way to Thomasville on Thursday. So there's some things in there that are hard to kind of navigate if you're a coach and you got to get up and teach class Wednesday morning and got kids that are supposed to be there. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, they're excited to play and they want a chance. And we got to do what we can as the coaches and teachers to give them the best experience possible.
RC.
Coach, Ambassador obviously is still a new school. So can you tell, obviously you're not an association, but can you tell the people like what makes you guys different?
So we're different in that. So I would say that we want to be able to give kids the experience that they want as far as maximizing their basketball opportunities, also in a traditional high school experience. So we're not a boarding school. We're not one of these academies where kids are going to be able to go and do their sport all day. We have a traditional school calendar. We are working through eligibility rules just like everybody else. But we recognize that in a lot of situations, especially in the Charlotte metro area, athletics is a big part of a kid's experience. And so we want to be able to be committed to it and to try to play it at the highest level and give those kids opportunities to develop. That's the biggest part is our willingness to be present to invest and allow those kids to develop through their time, whatever their journey looks like. We got 3 kids that were there that summer, even before the building opened, when we went and played in our first live period, that I'm so excited for because they'll be getting through their 3rd year next year, and to see where they've come from and where they're going as future college players of whatever level they end up working themselves out to, not necessarily Division I players, but also being able to have a student section and be able to play local rivals and be able to do those things while also seeking to play in a John Wall or, ultimately, hopefully City of Palms or Hoop Hall or whatever the case may be, which obviously requires really high level players. We have the support to be able to try to attain that.
Well, Coach, you mentioned level of play. I think with Ambassador playing the difficult schedule you do, I think for you personally and also the players that are Ambassador, you get an opportunity to see what level those players are pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think that matters. When you talk to college coaches, being able to give them film and be able to show them film of guys playing against whether it be Spire or Oak Hill or even Davidson Day or West Charlotte, like they get true evaluations. And sometimes it doesn't work in their favor. But it gives them a true evaluation of where they fit, what level they end up can being able to be a contributor, which really matters because as guys begin to trying to play in college, you want them to be in a situation where they can be successful and not just chasing a level to say they got to a level.
Yeah.
And so, it's not just simply trying to put, at the highest level possible, but being able to recognize what it looks like to be a contributor on a really good team and have a role that fits and be able to, play against guys that they're going to see on TV and all this other kind of stuff. But that's part of it. It also really, continues to challenge us and gives you a reason to get back into the gym, in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, Scott, before we let you get out of here, I did want to tell you the number one question I get asked about Ambassador Christian is where the heck is it? Tell folks where Ambassador is.
So we are off exit 25, Samford Road in Huntersville. We are right in Huntersville.
You out there where those teenagers were cutting up the other night?
No, that's the other side of the interstate. We're staying away from it. Hopefully, that did hit our group chat and make sure that everybody understood. The coach's eyes were all over everywhere.
6 p.m. curfew out there.
Yeah, but
man, best
we're
of luck.
Right down the street from Huff and in between Huff and North Mech and not far from the Cabarrus County line. So we're in a good spot to be able to play a lot.
Is that the old New Birth Church?
It is. That is our facility. Yep.
Yeah.
We got a great gym. Come see what we got going on.
You have a great gym. Coach, thanks for coming on, man. And I'm sure we'll be talking later on.
Cool. Thanks, y'all. Have fun this week.
Take care.
Right. Scott Taylor, former Myers Park coach, now at Ambassador Christian. I took him off before I took his banner off and put you guys back up on the screen. Now, we're going to bring in Kendria Holmes of Queens Grant. Kendria, don't be too good right now, because if you're too good, you got to come on every week. All right? So before we get to the Queens Grant stuff, I'm just going to put you into the show because I think you have some interesting perspective about what we're about to talk about. So first off, we're going to talk about what caught Randall's eye. Randall, what caught your eye last week?
So excited. I love the conference tournament that all you guys hate. And I want to be the first one to shout out South. We got South Mac and Huff in the championship. We had Porter Ridge and Cupperson in the girls championship. We had Hickory Ridge and Olympic in the boys championship. It was not all chalk like somebody on here tried to say it was going to be. I know the first 2 rounds might have been rough, but I think it was a great Friday night.
Kendria, do you like conference tournaments after the season?
I don't. I mean, I really don't.
I set you up, Randall. I set you up, Randall.
I know you did.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think it should be the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
That's kind of who goes anyway, but I'm not a fan of the conference tournament.
All right, let me ask you this, because Gary and I have been talking about this forever and ever. CMS could have like a city championship. Like, you take the teams, you put them in 3 different brackets. You put the higher level teams in one bracket, kind of like an AU tournament, the middle level teams in the middle. How would you like that? And everybody gets a chance to win a real trophy versus, I mean, nobody's going to beat Queens Grant in your conference.
Right.
But that gives somebody else a chance to win. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, so let me ask you this. Does that include all of the schools, like the charter schools?
Yeah. No, this just be CMS schools.
Oh, just CMS.
Yeah. But it could grow to be everybody, but starting out with CMS.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that gives you a fair opportunity to kind of see, within that CMS realm, who the top of the top is, and they go out and earn that, that trophy.
Yeah. Well, shout out to North Mac. They won boys and girls conference tournaments, and Huff won the first conference tournament in its history, which was pretty impressive on Friday. The first couple rounds, Gary, weren't good, but the Friday games were pretty good.
Well, we knew the first round was going. I mean, the championship games were going to be fine. We knew that.
Mm-hmm.
What we're worried about is making it to Friday. What you had to look at Monday through Thursday.
Well, Rick Lewis put in the chat, there was nobody there on Monday, Tuesday. There was nobody home.
Nobody there. Nobody but mom and daddy. The cheerleaders weren't even there on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a little light, but there were big. At least there was a huge crowd at Independence on Friday where Richard was at. And I know our photographer Jeff Siner had a good time. Another thing that caught my eye, though, Randall, this past week, North Lincoln had to forfeit 17 games, and they still made the playoffs.
Still make the playoffs, and now it becomes really, really interesting because you got to think, if you're one of these high seeds and you worked hard all season to avoid this team, and lo and behold, this happens, and now you got to see them way earlier than probably a lot of teams.
That's my question. Like North Lincoln, when you had them ranked number 3 in the Randall Clark statewide poll. Randall Clark does do the statewide poll, Kendria. It's Randall. So if wherever you rank that you don't like, it's his fault. I would get you every week, Randall.
Every time, it never fails.
But bus backwards and forwards.
Right.
How do you feel if you're Inca that has to play the number 3 team in the state week 1, round 1?
Exactly. I mean, it's really tough. And I mean, I'm sure as a coach, you're telling your team, we got to play whoever's on the schedule. Like, it doesn't matter, yada, yada, yada. But I didn't work this hard to get a 3 seed to have this team coming to my house Tuesday night.
Yeah, Kendra, how would you feel as a coach if that happened to you? Like, you getting ready to play, you're number 13 or something, you're ready thinking you're going to play somebody you really can get into, and here comes potentially the state champion round 1.
I mean, that's tough. The way the cookie crumbles sometimes, but I mean, honestly, I've learned to just whoever we suit up against, whoever we have to suit up against, that's who it is that we gotta prepare for it. It ain't always gonna work out in your favor, but that's why we play the game.
All right. So we're going to talk about the players of the week from last week. And before we get to your player, Kendra, we're going to read off these other ones for us.
Well, we got Carson Sheehan at Mooresville. She made a 3-pointer with no time left on the clock and a 63-60 win over Davie County.
Actually, I don't want to get in trouble. He.
Oh, sorry. The
lefty.
Yeah, the lefty. I forgot. Hunter Gerard at Carmel Christian and an 84-66 win over Cannon, had 28 points and 14 rebounds. Miss Gidney at Hickory Ridge in a 55-25 win over Cox Mill in the championship game of the Greater Metro, had 22 points, 6 steals, and 5 rebounds. And Xavier Young at North Meck led the team with 20 points in a 71-56 win over West Charlotte in the MEC Power 6 championship. And last but not least, we have Miss Bynum, who plays for Coach K over at Queens Grant. She had 31 points, 6 steals, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in a 77-51 win over Thomas Jefferson in the Catawba River championship game. Queens Grant is 24-3 and has won 15 games in a row.
Tell me about Miss Bynum, Coach, because, I mean, you got a lot of good players, but, like, every game there's a line like this out of Bynum, every single game.
Well, I mean, she just comes out and she plays hard. You know, that's the nature of her game. If it's not clicking for her in the half court offensively, she gets it done on the defensive end, you know, where it kind of helps her to carry that over on the offensive side. But I mean, she's a load of fun to watch, very explosive, you know, and as her coach, I understand that she still doesn't even know how to play completely. So, you know, to see all the potential that she still has in her game to really become great, you know, and that player that we know that she could become, you know, I'm excited for her future.
Well, Kendria, I try to get around and see the best teams play, how they're coached, the talent. And I don't know if you have the best team, but I think you have the best coach team. And I think your team could play at the 8A or 7A level here in town. What are your thoughts about your team and how they would compete against schools at a higher classification?
Well, it's funny that you talk about that. I mean, because we talk about that all the time. Just really being able to line up against the best competition, you know, around town, I think will really be good and fun to see. I mean, we know what our conference looks like, you know, on a nightly basis, but it would be lovely to be able to play in that 7A, 8A conference, because I think we could play against anybody.
Hold on now, Kendria. We got the man right down below you puts together these tournaments every year. I mean, we can get 100%. You some heat. I mean, heat. If you want heat, we can get you some heat.
We ain't ducking no smoke.
But you got to say yes when he calls.
Absolutely. I mean,
a lot of coaches get on here and say, I want the smoke. And I have Rick call, and Rick say, Langston, they didn't want the smoke.
Mr. Rick, we ain't running from nothing. Okay. As long as it fits within, you know, the qualifications of our schedule, I ain't ducking no smoke. I promise you.
You got 38 games in your schedule. You got plenty.
Nah, we had with our conference this year. I don't know. They had more teams.
Yeah, they had a couple. They had some restrictions. Yeah. They couldn't do as much as they would have liked. Coach, to piggyback on that, I do have a question. I clearly understand that you don't duck smoke. When you're scheduling, are there people that you're calling trying to get games, and people just say like flat out like, "No, we're good. We don't want to face you guys"?
I'm gonna be honest with you. The 2 years that I've been at Queens Grant, I really haven't put the schedule together for real. Okay. I mean, last year, after people knew that, you know, we were kind of good our first year. After this year, we got a lot of calls. I got a lot of calls for teams that wanted to play us, and you know, various tournaments and stuff like that. But I really didn't make too many calls around, you know, trying to schedule too many games myself. Okay. Well, I know at Mr. Rick's tournaments, you know, we play those. We have a better opportunity to play the good competition. So I really look forward to playing in those tournaments.
Well, we're gonna make that happen for you. How do you like your playoff road?
One game at a time. And I mean, I say that simply because that's truly how I approach it. Like I take it one game at a time. I don't look too far ahead.
I look ahead, but go ahead, Rick.
Kendra, I'm getting ready to look ahead. I'm getting ready to look ahead because I have ADs and principals. When their coaching jobs open, they call me. And I've called you before. And I said, hey, I know a job is open. And the times I've talked to you in the past, you said, nah, coach, I'm not ready yet. How long are you gonna be ready to play with the big dogs?
Well, I mean,
What was that gonna take?
it was a lot of factors that played into that. No, I mean, for whatever, if the right opportunity, whatever that is, I'm ready.
Because I know how competitive you are. I mean, you told me I can't even be on the show if y'all go in the afternoon because I got games to play. You still out there playing yourself. So, and you've told me you can beat everybody on your team. Can you still beat them all?
100%.
That's what I thought. So, just let me know when you're ready to move up because, it's about a week away from them ADs and coaches.
Gary, you know Joe Badgett watches this show, right?
Huh?
You know Joe Badgett watches this show.
He needs to be at a bigger level too.
Oh Lord.
Well, I will say this, Coach Richmond. I'm not, I'm ready for whatever the right opportunity comes, as long as it's the right opportunity. I've had opportunities, to take other jobs and positions and stuff like that, but it's got to be the right opportunity. Plus, I'm committed to my kids these last 2 years, at least these last 2 years. But if it's the right opportunity, I'm not.
That sounds like you committed to a player these last 2 years.
No, not at all. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me take you back. Yes, I am. My players. I have a few that I'm committed to.
That's a nice Don Staley answer. Rick, what you got?
Well, Coach, once you and Coach Badgett cut the nets down for the 2A championship, you guys will be the first one I call.
All right.
She says she's not Dougie Smoke. Okay, we got a couple questions before we get out of here. You told us in the green room that you are related to Bubba Wallace.
No, well, Bubba Wallace, his sister is my best friend. Bubba's family, we've known him, since he was about 5, 6, 7 years old. I've known his sister all my life. We play basketball together, and we've just grown up to be best friends in our adult life.
So you go to a lot of NASCAR races?
I wouldn't say a lot because it's not a lot here.
Yeah.
But we have been to a few, yes. And in pit row.
And you get to go on the track and down in pit row and all that?
In pit row, yep.
It's
we down there with the action. It's loud. It's loud down there.
All right. Last question before we get out of here. What was it like to start for Coach Richmond on state championship team? Was he a hard coach?
I wouldn't say Coach Richmond was a hard coach. No, I wouldn't say he was hard. I mean, after playing in college, Coach Richmond was not hard at all.
All right. Well, look, Kendria, thanks for coming on. And hopefully we'll have you back. I know you're going to be good and you're great. So thanks for coming on with us, talking to us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. That is Kendria Holmes. She's the girls basketball coach at Queens Grant, and Rick Lewis's overwhelming favorite pick to win the 2A state championship. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about, since we had her on, we're just going right into the NCHSAA games. Here's some of the key games I could find for Tuesday. There's too many to talk about because there's 8 classes, boys and girls. To go through it all, we'd be here for 3 hours. But, Rick, what do you think about some of these Tuesday games I picked up?
Well, you look at Chambers, and, if Brian, Coach Brian, didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. They lost players, Cam was, out with a season injury. I think he would have been their best player this year. And, they have a fairly good record. They played a very strong schedule. I think if they would have had Cam in the lineup, they would have probably challenged North Mech and West Charlotte as far as, the top 3 teams in the conference. Mm-hmm. But those are one of the teams, they played some really good teams and they've been very close. They had some close games, especially with North Mech. They're a team that could be a little bit of a dangerous team. And of course, I think South Mech, after watching them play the other night in the conference championship, they're better than what their record is. They're a really good team. They played a very difficult schedule as well. The one that I really feel sorry for is West Mech. Basically, if they win on Tuesday night, they have to travel all the way to Chapel Hill. Pretty good long drive, for the the Western regionals, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and then was it a good thing, Gary? Barry Harding and Olympic all got out of CMS. I know there was some consternation about traveling to Cabarrus County and whatnot, but they're all in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I think it's good, but you know, we've had Coach on here earlier talking about the travel, where teams got to go over 200-300 miles to a game,
Yes.
and you know, RC has been saying for a while it's too many classifications, and that's the unintended consequence. That
Your
you
favorite two
got
words.
all these consequences. I mean, all these classifications, and now instead of playing teams, you know, in your conference, you got to go across the state to play somebody just to play in your classification.
Right.
And we wouldn't have this issue if we had maybe 6 classifications.
6 classes is the magic number.
Yeah. And as opposed to 8. And then from my point of view, I don't like all these buys, because if you have this many buys, then your bracket is too big.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what about the 8A? I mean, they play 3 games and they go to regionals. And then the second part of that question, Gary, some teams are going to have to play 4 games in 7 days. You're going to play 3 games this week and you're going to play again next Tuesday. Is that too much? Sound like an AAU Saturday, but is that too much?
Yeah, I think it is. And there you go with another unintended consequence.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping that after we get a year of these 8 classes, not just in football and basketball, because it's going to be even tougher for your non-revenue sports like girls soccer or baseball to do all this traveling across the state in the middle of the week. I think they need to go back and tweak this, and not so much tweak, maybe fix this, because this is, I don't think, what they planned for. And it makes no sense to me.
I agree. And Randall, we talked about it last week. Jay Bell is top 20 in the country in scoring. She's going to Cupperson. Does she have a chance to lead Rocky River to an upset?
I mean, just imagine being the Cupperson coach. You had Kate Schindler, you had to go guard last week, followed by Miley Malcolm, and now you got to run it up with Jay Bell. I don't know what Cupperson does, but they've had the chance to guard 2 really, really good scorers.
Yeah.
But like I said last week, this is a whole different monster. I mean, this kid can put her head down and get downhill with the best of them. Can score in a variety of different ways and shoot it from all over the court. It'll be really interesting to see how Cupperson comes out and guards Jade on Tuesday night.
All right, let's talk about some NCISAA games. They're in the semifinals, and Rick on the 3. Rich, I'm gonna come to you on the 4A, but Rick in the 3A, we got some pretty decent boys games with Davidson Day and Greensboro Day, Gaston Christian Concord. Before I let you talk about that, Randall, tell me about the 3A girls games, Gaston Christian and Concord Academy. Does either one of them stand a chance against Grace Christian?
Concord Academy can give Grace Christian a game. And I think the thing that's going to really be interesting about if those 2 teams meet is you get to, did Grace Christian play a tough enough schedule to prepare them for this final game? I mean, they beat up on a lot of people this year. And I think Concord Academy played anybody who was anybody this year. They are very, very battle tested. And I think going to play a team like Grace Christian won't put any fear in them, because they've already seen these teams, teams like them before.
All right, and then we heard Scott say that, Rick, the 3A boys private school is top 10 toughest bracket in the nation. Davidson Day, which was, we talked about maybe potential number 1 team in Sweet 16 in preseason. They're going to play Freddie, who's won a gazillion games. And then you got Gaston Christian with the old Duke point guard going to play number 1 Concord Academy. Concord Academy is also number 1 in the Rick Lewis Sweet 16. Rick Lewis does that poll. If you have complaints, send them to Rick Lewis, not me. What do you see in those 2 games? Who's coming out?
Well, this is the toughest classification in either the public or the private school.
Wow.
And you look at Max Preps, Greensboro Day and Concord Academy has been 1 and 2 the entire season.
Yeah.
And you look at Davidson Day, they've also been basically in the top 10 along with Gaston Christian throughout the season. Now, Davidson Day has a 23-11 record, but get this, they start 3 guys that are 6'11" or taller.
Yeah,
you got Cody Beck, who's a high major player. You got the Xavier kid, who's a 6'11" kid, who's a sophomore, who's nationally ranked, and you have Will Stevens, who's 6'11", who's going to Clemson. So they have a very talented team. They have 3 really good guards. I think the biggest problem for them is they may have overscheduled and play a very tough schedule. I think they got the second toughest schedule outside of Ambassador.
Right.
And I think basically you look at like they played Paul VI. So I think they're ranked like 5th or 6th nationally, and they lost to them by like 2 or 3 points.
Right.
They lost to Dave. They lost to Greensboro Day just recently on the tip end. They lost by 2 points. So they played a very difficult schedule. Now they're going to play against Greensboro Day, who is probably in the top 30 nationally, and you got legendary coach Freddie Johnson. But the thing
it's
about
hard to win at Greensboro Day.
Yeah,
that might be the #1 home court advantage in North Carolina.
But here's the thing, Greensboro Day is awfully young. Their top 3 players is 2 sophomores and a freshman.
Yeah.
Wow. They're going to be good for a long time.
Right.
So Freddie Johnson is going to keep accumulating those career wins and eventually will become the all-time winning coach of all time at the high school basketball level. So that will be a very interesting game, but you're right. It's hard to beat Greensboro Day at Greensboro Day, but I think the game will be very close. I think Davidson Day is a team that's dangerous. They got the 3, like I said, 3 guys at 6'11" or taller, and that's pretty imposing. Their lineup is a college-ready lineup as far as height is concerned.
Yeah, and then Gaston Christian and Concord Academy. Can Gaston Christian spring an upset? Because Concord has been wiping the floor with everybody.
Well, Gaston Christian is one of the very few teams that beat Greensboro Day earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. Gaston Christian did go up against Concord Academy, and they lost by like 10 points. Concord Academy, to me, is the best team that no one's really talking about. They're a very talented team. They have very good balance, and they have a really good head coach in Frank Canford.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Frank didn't get enough credit.
Between #1 and #2, when it comes down to it, it's probably going to be Concord Academy versus Greensboro Day.
Who's winning?
You know what? Concord Academy, we had the event at Greensboro Day. Concord Academy and Greensboro Day battled back and forth. Greensboro Day won at the very end by 2 or 3 points. I think at a neutral site, it's probably going to be a toss-up. Get your coin out. Heads, Greensboro Day. Tails, Concord Academy.
I don't know if the Novant Fieldhouse at the Greensboro Coliseum is exactly neutral site, but I hear what you're saying. 4A girls, Richard Walker, is there any reason why Cannon won't play?
Excuse me?
Any reason why Cannon School and Providence Day won't meet in the 4A girls?
I like Latin's chances, but, it is a challenge for them. I mean, Cannon has beaten them a couple times. But they got, they've been building for this moment. I think they've got, 8 seniors. They've been working hard for this. But, going on the road will be challenging for them. And certainly it does look like chalk will hold in the 4A girls.
All right, Randall, if chalk does hold and Providence State gets another shot at Cannon, who beat them in the state finals a couple of years ago, can Providence Day get it done? They have 5 seniors, 3 of them going D1.
It's kind of the same reason I think Latin would have a chance, but hard to pick against Cannon at this point. But, certainly they're going to be challenged. If Cannon can win by beating Latin and Providence Day back-to-back, they've certainly earned it.
Can Providence Day pull an upset on Cannon, Randall, if chalk does win up?
They can. They can. I think Providence Day has finally looked, they've looked better the last, month of the season. Obviously, these 2 teams have met twice already. I would say this game becomes one of those games where, it could be a coin flip, but I think at the end of the day, I think Cannon's gonna take care of business and end up finishing the job.
All right, and then on the boys' side, Rick, in the 4A, Charlotte Latin's going to play Forsyth Country Day. We talked about Concord Academy kind of being under the radar. I think Forsyth's a little bit under the radar too.
Well, Forsyth Country Day, they were on a roll up until when the snowstorm hit and we were out for 2 or 3 weeks.
No practice.
They sort of struggled a little bit. Just to give you an example, I was watching the game the other night. They were playing Wesley and Christian. Now, they beat them earlier in the season by like 30-25, and they played them at home, and they were very lucky. They won on a last-second shot. So it's one of these situations when you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. I think for Charlotte Latin, Chris Berger does a phenomenal job. They have a freshman sensation and the Mallory kid. I think basically They're probably, I think, a year away because their top two players is the freshman and also a junior.
Mhm.
I think Forsyth Country Day will probably win that based on talent itself. They although it's being played at Forsyth Country Day, they don't have a home court advantage because no one shows up for their games. It's for a school that is at that level and as
Yeah.
talented as they are, they have the poorest fan support of any school that I know of. So
They got a great gym too. It's weird.
they have a beautiful gym, and it's just it's a shame. I think they played High Point Wesleyan the other night, and Wesleyan probably had as many fans as they did. So there's no really advantage there. I think, but Forsyth, based on talent alone, they'll probably come out ahead.
I tell you what, if it becomes a coaching game, Charlotte Lightning has one of the best coaches in the state, public or private.
I do think that coming off that game versus Wesleyan, I'm sure Coach Berger is going to watch that film. He's going to study it. You're giving him a couple days to prepare. If it gets into a coaching game, it could be a very, very long night for Forsyth Country Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the other game, we have Carmel Christian and Providence Day, which is a rematch of last year's semifinal that was played at Carmel. That Carmel actually, and it was considered an upset. They upset Providence Day and then lost to Christ School in the finals. Richard Walker, you're going to be at this game. What do you see in this rematch between two teams that have two of the best fan bases in the state? Rick talked about Forsyth not having any fans.
Yeah.
This game's going to be sold out, can't move, can't breathe.
Right. And I was at the game last year where Bryce Slay hit a step back 3-pointer to get it to overtime, and the momentum switched completely to their side. So they probably felt fortunate to win that one last year, but it got them rolling. So I would think they're certainly not intimidated or scared by playing Providence Day or going over there. I look forward to seeing a really exciting game. And, you have to favor the home team, but it would not shock me with either result because Carmel Christian certainly can't be afraid of them.
Yeah, Rick Lewis, what shocked me was Providence Day only beat Cary Academy 43-40 in the quarterfinals the other night. Were they looking ahead?
I think it goes back to the same scenario as like for South Country Day. After the break with the snow and stuff, a lot of teams sort of lost a little bit of momentum. They've been playing games against opponents a little bit closer than what I expected.
Yeah.
I think when you look at that, you have two really good coaches. Jonathan McIntyre, first-year coach at Providence Day, has done a tremendous job. They played a very difficult schedule. Tamar Slay, and again, I've been very heavy on the analytical stuff as far as strength of schedule. Carmel Christians probably played the third toughest schedule in the state. So, they're battle tested, and I agree with Richard. It's one of those situations where you usually go with the home team, but it wouldn't surprise me if Carmel came away and stole that game and played for Forsyth Country Day for the state championship, and they could be the sleeper team.
Carmel does feel like their game earlier at Providence Day, they gave that one away. So I think the confidence level for the Cougars coming into Tuesday night is going to be pretty high. But you want to talk about a home court advantage, a crazy atmosphere. They're going to pack the MAC on Tuesday. So
yes, they are. One thing, Providence Day has Brian Field on the bench. Brian Field was the coach of the 2016 Providence Day team that won the state championship. That was the last time they won a state championship. And those kids, I went to the Country Day game a few weeks ago, and those kids all said, we want to win this one for Coach Field because he's back now. Is there any emotional uplift, Randall, that they're this close to getting? I know they've been to the state finals since then, but is there any emotional uplift because they're getting to the state finals with their guy again?
I don't think so. I mean, no? I think it's a great story, but I think these kids, they don't really remember what happened back in 2016. I think it's a cool story to want to win it for Coach Fields, and he's a great guy. But I think if anything, you got a first-year head coach who was put into a tough situation, got this interim tag still hanging over him. I'd say if I'm trying to win this state championship for anybody at PD, it'd be for Coach Mack.
Should the interim tag come off?
Yes, the interim tag should come off. I've felt that way since December. I think Coach McIntyre has done a phenomenal job being put into a very, very tough situation, and I think the interim tag should be removed.
All right, give me your pick, Rick. Who's winning?
In a situation like this, I usually go with the home team just because, of the home team advantage. But I would like to say one thing, Randall. I think you hit the nail on the head as far as with Coach McIntyre. I think, from an emotional standpoint, I call him a first-year coach. I don't use the word interim head coach anymore with him. I think he's a first-year coach, and he deserves the job, especially what he's done this season, starting off 0-4 and basically, again, playing a very brutal schedule to begin with. And the thing that I was impressed with is just how mature and poised he is on the sidelines as a coach and how motivated he has been with the team throughout the course of the season. So it's one of those things as far as an emotional thing. I think the emotional effect probably goes to Providence Day. Like, we want to win this for Coach McIntyre.
I'm not letting you off the hook, Rick. Who's winning the game? Providence Day. Now, who's winning the Forsyth Latin game?
Forsyth Country Day.
Who's winning the state championship?
Forsyth Country Day.
There it is, guys. I knew he's going to say that. Rick's Statesville guy. So he get a little tug there. All right, it's time my favorite part of the show. It's time for Coach versus Coach. I actually do have theme music like I did last week. So here we go. Man, I'm getting spoiled, Gary. We get to the Coach versus Coach, and we're 50 minutes in. I'm just like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Are you taking the ball, or are you giving it to Randall?
I'll take it tonight.
You take the ball tonight. All right. The Eastern Regionals are at ECU. The Western Regionals at Lenoir-Rhyne. If you remember, they had massive attendance issues at Lenoir-Rhyne. I remember a grandma couldn't get in the gym, see Jason Parker's team play in 1999. Was literally crying. We wrote a big story, had a picture in the paper. Are we going to have the same problem again? Because Lenoir-Rhyne is basically Providence High School.
Probably, especially if you get two teams from major cities. You're going to have the same problem at Lenoir-Rhyne. Lenoir-Rhyne was old 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So think how old it is going to feel now. To me, I just don't get how, and I'm sure it's a money thing, but I just don't see how you can't get the Western Regionals in the greater Charlotte area.
If I'm Q Tucker, and y'all know I'm very fond of Q Tucker, I would call the new Charlotte AD from Clemson, who went to Chapel Hill, and say, we want to put our stuff in your gym because it's going to help you recruit. And what Charlotte needs more than anything else is to start having a pipeline of local
visibility.
Kids. That's the first call I'm making if I'm Q Tucker. I don't mean to interrupt and steal your thunder. Go ahead, sir.
No, I definitely agree. ECU, that's a major Division I school gym.
Yes.
So the East is fine. But Lenoir-Rhyne is, Division II. It's barely bigger than, the newer high school gyms. And you're just going to have a mess. And especially if you have two Charlotte teams meet up.
And the high seats are very high, too.
Yeah, and you have two Charlotte teams meet up, then you really going to have chaos. And people don't understand, okay, we got two Charlotte teams. Let's just play it in Charlotte,
hold on, I got to bring Rick in because Rick and I were sitting at Lenoir-Rhyne in 2020 when North Meck was playing. Who were they playing, Rick, in the semifinals? It was Olympic in the semifinals.
It was.
Yeah.
It was 8,000 degrees in that gym, and me and Rick were like this beside each other. It was so hot.
Sardines.
And then when the game ended and all the one team's fans left and other team's fans came in, you could have gotten trampled. There were so many people. I mean, you remember that, Rick? Am I lying?
Absolutely.
It was horrible. I was sweating like a pig, just sitting in the stands, watching the basketball game. And Vernon Maxwell running around the crowd. That was the funniest thing. But it's not big enough. I'm sorry. I just want to bring that back up.
Well, you're right. And that gives us some clarity so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And this has been a problem. This is not a 5-year problem, a 6-year problem. This is a problem that has existed for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I went through it in the regionals at Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah.
And we barely could get our parents in there. We had to take the parents of my team through my locker room to get them into the stands. because he was playing back down, and they had bought up all the tickets.
I think part of the issue is the state is not allowed to work with sponsors anymore, so they do have to kind of go get free gyms. But again, I think Charlotte is the call to make. Randall, your thoughts?
I agree. You know, I was at that 2020 game, so it was really hard. And if we
remember how hard it was,
if we get 2 Charlotte teams in there, it's going to be a complete disaster.
You're gonna have more than 2 Charlotte teams. You're gonna probably have 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's
remember we got 8,000 classes.
Yeah, I forgot about the ANC. Yeah, I mean, just another. So yes, this is a very, very rare moment in coach versus coach where I actually agree with Gary. It's definitely going to be an issue when we get to LR.
All right. Next question, Randall. North Carolina High School Athletic Association teams are wearing jerseys without the team's nickname or I didn't spell it right, or school name on the jersey. It's technically against National Federation of High School policy. Should the NCHSAA drop penalties or just let it go?
Let it go. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for let the kids be kids. Like sometimes you have to make an adjustment. I already know what the guy beside me is getting ready to say because he wants everybody in the same shoe still, like this is the 1970s. You know, I don't think they should wear them for the state playoffs. So that's where, but a lot
but
of
you've seen what I'm talking about, like the well or the land or
yeah. But no, most of the time those are their third set or their alternate set. So I mean, I think you just leave those at home, especially when we get to the state playoffs, because there's no telling what to do, and it'd be crazy for a team to get disqualified by the state because they wore, you know, the well on their jerseys.
All right, Gary.
Small things lead to big things. You know, and he is exactly right, because I was sitting with a parent and I at Friday night's championship games, and I said, you see that team right there? Everybody got the same socks on, the same shoes on. They got the same goal. They gonna win. And it happened in both games.
Mm-hmm.
That other team on the other side, they had all color shoes on, all color socks on.
Uh-huh.
So the little things didn't matter to them. And I told that parent, I said, culture. At this age, culture beats inexperienced talent almost every time. And so, you know, the coaches know the rules. Wear the right uniform. I would not let it go. If somebody comes out there with an alternative nickname, Tech. Let's get it started right. Tech. Alex would be proud of me, right?
I was getting ready to say this is the question where we definitely miss Alex Bass for sure.
Yeah, and we had a referee at Bunker Hill this past weekend, kicked everybody out the gym, throwing out Tech's pregame.
That is a whole nother situation though. I'm not even about to include him in this.
He kicked everybody out. He said, you, and you get out.
Yeah. He cleared he cleared one side of the gym.
He got rid of the cheerleaders.
He even got rid of the cheerleaders. He said, everybody on this side of the gym is out.
Yeah. All right, Gary, last question. South Carolina State, we've heard this story before. South Carolina State legislators are threatening to shut down the South Carolina High School League unless Commissioner Jerome Singleton steps down. Is this necessary?
Heck no. This is nothing but partisan politics. They don't like Jerome Singleton, and the person sponsoring the bill said, we'll remove the bill if he steps down. Come on now. You're going to get rid of a whole organization because you don't like one person who is, you know, I don't know what their standard is for getting that job, but I'm sure he met all the qualifications. But it's somebody who wants to throw around legislative power. I tell you what, South Carolina, fix them roads.
No.
Y'all got the worst highways.
No. Fix them shots. Fix them shots.
Yeah, fix it. I was in South Carolina yesterday. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna have to get a realignment. You know, I'm like, and y'all worried about the association. Now, they disguised it initially, and they don't like these transfers, and I agree. I don't have a problem with that.
But they voted it through, though. Yeah,
but I'm just going after one person. We saw it happen here in North Carolina.
Yeah, we did.
Saw it. They were going after Q because she was enforcing a rule that has been in place for 20 years, and then somebody's gonna come in and say, well, since you are enforcing the rule, we don't want you to be in leadership anymore because my team can't be in the playoffs. And I hate that. I mean, keep politics out of athletics.
All right, Randall.
I couldn't have said it better myself. There's no way even around this. To get rid of a whole organization just because you don't like one person is completely outrageous to me.
All right, Richard, I want to come back to one question because you have a unique perspective because you've been around for 4,800 years. What do you think about the regionals being in Lenoir-Rhyne? Because I think we all know there's a potential and a likelihood that there's going to be overcrowding.
Well, I'm old enough to have lived through when they were at high schools, gyms, and they had fan unrest. I remember a really bad situation at Wilson Hunt way back when Kinston with Charles Shackelford, Mr. Amphibious was playing. Robert Brickey was E. Smith. I remember East Burke. I'm trying to remember who the teams were involved, but East Burke got so frustrated with it. That's why it moved to Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah.
And so, it's always been on the move. And really the thing that I agree with your thoughts about moving it to Charlotte. The problem with moving it to Halton Arena is their conference schedule would be running concurrently. The end of their regular season conference schedule would be run concurrently with the regional. So I don't know that that's the proper fit. Bojangles is probably the right place, but I don't think that it would cost too much for them.
They want a lot of money for Bojangles.
Yeah, they want a lot of money to block out the checkers for a whole week. So yeah. I'm not sure and I also think Greensboro could do it as they did before, but do you want to have the state and the regionals in Greensboro and the Winston-Salem area? I mean, I'm sure a lot of us I just don't know.
Is Queens big enough? Is Queens big enough to do it?
It's bigger than Lenoir-Rhyne.
I know that part, but is it
the parking at Queens would be an issue?
I think the capacity of Queens is around 3,500.
Right.
Yeah. I think Davidson would be a great spot. Charlotte would be a great spot. I just think I think Charlotte's the perfect spot, and I think Charlotte needs it, and I think they could figure out some scheduling things to make it work.
The Davidson UNC Charlotte situation makes a lot of sense, and they may well work to make that happen, but that means they would have to forfeit having a home game the last week of the regular season. And I don't know that their coaches would be happy about that.
I bet their fans be happy if they get some of this talent.
Oh, I'm with you. They'd get fans and seats for sure.
Well, they also might. Charlotte's a beautiful facility. They get some of these kids on campus like, you know what? I might want to go to Charlotte. But I don't know. Charlotte, it would be in the tournament on March 11th through the 14th, Rich. They're not Richard. They're in the Alabama Conference Champion.
I'm saying the week of the regionals would be with their last regular season week, and
this
they
year
would have to be on the road both games.
This year they have a game on the 4th and the game on the 8th. The game on the 4th is at home. The game on the 8th is away. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They'd have to have no home games the last week.
But they'd have one home game during the regionals.
Right.
So I mean, I think
Richard, how big is Gardner Webb's gym? Is it bigger than Lenoir-Rhyne?
That's west.
A little bit, but I don't know that works either.
Yeah, that's west. I think I don't know. I don't even know how big the thing is in Concord. The Concord, whatever they call it, facility.
I know that Catawba has renovated Goodman Gymnasium. I don't know how big that is. I'm old enough to remember that was where the old Western Association was played, but I don't know the amount of fans you can get in.
Well, CMS is building a regional gym. I don't know when it's supposed to open, but they're supposed to be building a 5,000. I think it's a 5,000 seat regional gym. So that may solve the problem.
Another place is the Cabarrus Event Center. I think can get 5,000.
Yeah, the Cabarrus Event Center. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. But I think they need to take a look at that moving forward. I know the association is kind of under the gun to try to find a place right now. All right, it's time. I always forget, but I didn't forget this week, Randall. What are your final thoughts?
Hey, this is a lot of people's favorite time of the year, win or go home time. And, piggybacking off what Coach Richmond said earlier, details do matter. Those 50-50 balls, those charges, those rebound attempts, at the end of the game, everything matters. And, especially for you seniors, every time you step on the floor for the next few weeks, it could be your last time. So enjoy it. But make sure that you don't have any regrets and leave it all on the floor.
If I'm a good girls player, how can I get on the Lady Attack Elite?
You can DM me on Twitter or Instagram, OWE Basketball, and we'll go from there.
Can I cut a check get on the team? I got to be able to ball.
No, there's none of that. None of that going on here. I have standards.
But everybody doesn't have to wear the same shoe, though. I can come in with my.
Oh no, you wear because Coach definitely not wearing the same shoe. So if I'm not wearing the same shoe, everybody else they can wear what they want to.
Yeah, I know what you wear.
Yes, sir.
Kobe beans every time.
Every Mike makes an appearance every now and then, but yes.
Yeah, well, this is another good episode of Talking Prep.
Best Laker.
I'm not doing this with you tonight.
He's number 2 or 3. But another great episode of Talking Preps. We got done in under about an hour, so I'm loving that. So that is Randall Clark, the best trainer I know, also a great AAU basketball coach. And I was joking, but if you do have a young lady playing, that's a great organization. Rick Lewis, who's the #1 voice of high school basketball. You hear it every week. I say in football, we're lucky to have Chris Hughes, and we're so lucky to have Rick Lewis for basketball. Richard Walker, as I say every week, the only guy's done this longer than me. I think Richard's 112. I'm 111. And that's Gary Richmond, my frat brother, CMS coach. I'm Langston, and we are done Talking Preps.